What's going on, guys? Chase with iDub Hockey, hanging out today with Brian Molnar, who's the Director of Engineering for True Hockey. We have your really exciting Catalyst line in front of us today. Before we start talking tech and spec, can you tell me about the flex profile and style of player you designed this line for?
Yeah, the Catalyst is replacing our X-Core line from 2019 that we launched in 2019. So it's going to be a mid-kick profile, a true mid-kick profile. And what does that mean? It typically means that the part of the shaft that's below your bottom hand is going to be stiffer than the top part of the shaft. So what that does is it's for a couple of different types of players. Players looking for that big slap shot, that big one-timer. They typically gravitate toward a mid-kick stick because that's going to keep that lower part of the shaft more stable throughout the shot, right? Somebody looking for a low kick, it's more of a quick motion shot. They need that bottom part of the shaft to load up very quickly for a quick release. So this is a mid-kick profile. Also for that player that might keep their bottom hand a little bit higher on the stick, you're not going to get as much leverage that way, so you get a little bit more flexibility in the top of the shaft for that type of player.
Well, let's talk about your goal with this Catalyst. It's a big departure, especially once we hop into the blade and we could talk about the changes there. But what was your goal with this Catalyst line coming from the success from the XC series?
The goal was really weight. We've seen big weight reductions in sticks over the past several years. The XC9 was a very unique stick with the X-Core technology that had this urethane insert embedded that you could actually see from the back face of the blade. And what this insert does is it really softens the feel of the blade, gives the stick a very unique feel, and allows the puck to kind of stay closer to the face of the blade, which aids in accuracy and control. So we wanted to try to move away from X-Core technology while keeping those same performance characteristics. And why did we want to move away from X-Core? It's weight, really it's weight. XC9 was a 425 gram stick. 425 gram stick today is not really considered a high-end stick. So we really wanted to focus on weight. Problem with this technology is we add about 8 to 10 grams of material between the insert and the carbon structure around it to hold it in the blade and keep it in place in the blade without breaking. So we had to get away from it.
Right. So with this 9, you've alluded to it, it's significantly lighter. Can you tell me about the weight at 60 inches and how were you able to accomplish that this year, starting with the blade and the two key tech that we find there?
Right. So we took 40 grams of weight out of the stick between the XC9 and the Catalyst 9. And how do we do that? Materials, really a lot of new material technologies. So we took our braided rib technology that we use in both the A series. We use it in the X-Core line as well. We use it in the Project X stick, which was our lightest stick to date at 355 grams, but that one's a low kick stick. We moved away from the carbon in the braided rib and we went to what we're calling the BAT, which is a braided aramid technology. So it's the same as the BRT technology, but we're replacing the carbon fiber with this aramid fiber. Aramid has some unique properties, much different than carbon. It's actually lighter than carbon. It reduces vibrations very well, and it's not near as stiff. So if you compare the X-Core blade to the A series blade or the Project X blade, it's not as rigid of a blade, and that's to aid with that accuracy and control aspect of the stick. You don't want as rigid of a blade. If you have a very rigid blade, it's harder to control. You can get quicker release, but that's not what this type of stick is designed for. That's more the A series or the Project X. So with this material, an interesting thing about aramid also is the vibration reduction characteristics. It really damps vibrations. So it's doing a very similar thing to what this urethane insert was doing in the X-Core, but with much lighter weight. So this is the main driver of keeping that feel of the X-Core blade, the braided aramid technology. The next thing we did from a material standpoint is we introduced a material that we're calling the pass foam technology. And it's very similar chemistry wise to the current foam core we use in the X4 and the A series, but it's higher density and has much higher strength. So 50% more compression strength, which means you're going to be able to take those repeated impacts without breaking down the foam. 25% higher shear strength, which means that less rigid blade can bend and twist and move around without that foam core breaking down. So with those two technologies, we're able to get that less rigid blade that absorbs the vibrations, has those same characteristics from a performance standpoint and a feel standpoint, and it's a much lighter package in the blade. We also took quite a bit of weight out of the shaft, building on a lot of the design philosophy we use for our Project X stick. Basically took that design, made it into a mid-kick shaft profile, and we got a lot of weight out of the shaft that way. So the end result is a stick that's 40 grams lighter, but the flex profile is very similar to the XC9, and the blade feel is very similar as well.
Yeah, because that's going to be a big question for anyone who's been a very loyal X-Core user. You know, how does it compare? And you kind of mentioned off camera that it's going to be a little bit stiffer from what we've seen in the past, but it's far closer to the original X-Core series than the A series or anything else as well. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I mean it's difficult to build a mid-kick stick that's very lightweight, and part of that is because you need extra material in the taper section to get that mid-kick profile. So the lightest sticks on the market are always going to be low kick sticks for that reason. That's the Project X. And, you know, I won't mention the competitors, but there's a couple of them out there that are in that weight range. Those are typically low kick sticks. As you go into mid kick sticks, you see that weight go up a little bit. But for a true mid kick profile, 385 grams is the lightest we've seen. There's others out there that claim to be mid kick. They're not the same profile as this stick.
Right. It's a true mid kick, especially with that soft upper handle. Now, working with that PLD technology is, you know, a different carbon fiber than that 3K twill that we've seen in true sticks for a long time. So, you know, if I was new to the sport, I'm looking at this Catalyst 9, you know, what's the difference between what I saw in the previous generation as compared to the spread toe today?
Yeah, the spread toe is fairly common now throughout the industry. You see a lot of sticks with that kind of larger checkerboard pattern. And this is very similar to what we use on our AX9, on our Project X. This is actually a little bit lighter, a little bit thinner, about 10% thinner than and lighter than the materials used on that stick. So if you put them next to each other, you'll see that the squares on here are a little bit bigger. That's because they're spreading those fibers even more to reduce the thickness of the material and the weight of the material. So that really helps us. You like to have a fabric on the outside of the stick. Sticks take a lot of impact, and if all the material is unidirectional and you get a chip, you can have that fiber peeling throughout the length of the shaft, right? With the fabric, you know, a fabric is designed to inhibit that crack propagation. So it's a good material to use on a hockey stick.
Now, before we start talking about the other price points, you know, this Catalyst 9 is available in a huge range of size or in flexes this year. You know, typically in these higher end price points, you don't see it go down to that youth and junior spec. So walk me through, you know, the specs, the flexes that are available, as well as a couple of key specs if they differ from this top end senior version.
Sure. Senior, we've got 95, 85, 75, and we've added a 65, 60-inch senior length stick. It was really popular with Project X. We got a lot of great feedback on it, and I think it's here to stay in our senior stick lines at 65 flex. Intermediate at 55, and then we've got a full U flex line of junior sticks, 20, 30, 40, and 50 flex. So it's a lot of SKUs, right? It's a lot of different products, but we have a little bit different approach than most of our competitors in designing that U flex junior line. We design it exactly like our senior sticks. To our engineers, a junior stick is just a smaller shaft, a softer flex, and a smaller blade. But the construction is exactly the same. The materials are exactly the same. The braided aramid tech that I referred to, the pass foam technology that I referred to, those are in our 20 flex junior Catalyst 9 stick, as well as the 95 flex senior. So we're not dumbing down the junior stick. You know, the price of the junior stick goes down, right? but our cost really doesn't. We're making it the same way. So
Right.
we're pretty unique in that regard, and we've had a lot of success with the junior U-Flex line as a result.
That's exciting. If you're looking for a truly elite junior stick, make sure you check out that Catalyst 9. Now, speaking of elite performance, but maybe at a little more approachable price point, is the Catalyst 7. We've talked before at 410 grams and a huge difference in price here. This is lighter than just some of the top end sticks a few years ago. It's incredible how much weight you've taken out of this. So walk me through starting with the weight, because like you mentioned, that's the story for this entire line, as well as a couple key specs we'll find too.
Yeah, you mentioned 410 grams for the Catalyst 7. Let's compare that now to the high-end XC9 that this line is replacing. It's 15 grams lighter than the top of the line, top end stick from 2 years ago, right? So there's really a big weight story with this stick. The difference between the Catalyst 7 and the Catalyst 9, in a word, it's weight, right? It's about 25 grams heavier, but it's designed more for that player that's looking for that top end performance, but might be a little bit hard on sticks. That player that's, tough on sticks, maybe on the ice 5 days a week, taking a ton of shots, that might be a better stick for that type of player. It's a really popular construction for, our CHL teams and some of the European teams that maybe don't have that budget that an NHL team has, right? So we do see weight as a performance feature. You're skating with a stick, you can move it quicker if it's lighter. We see weight as a performance feature. So, but really the only trade-off between the 9 and the 7 is the weight. Everything else is the same. So it's very similar flex profile. All the technologies, all the key technologies are the same in the 7.
That's awesome. And a big difference in price too. But as we move into the 5X, we're going to repeat ourselves. Weight is going down drastically. So walk me through what the weight is on this 5 and a couple of the key features that we'll find here as well.
Right. Like we talked about earlier, we had 3 price points in the X series. We have 4 in the Catalyst. So the price points don't exactly line up, but this is that similar price point as like an AX5, A4.5 from years ago. Those were typically in the 450 to 470 gram range. This one is at 430 grams. And you'll also notice on the Catalyst 5X that we use that spread toe fabric on the entire stick, right? Typically, you might only see something like that on the blade at this price point, or not on the stick at all. It's on the entire stick. And what that helps us to do is get that weight into that 430 gram range, because you're taking heavy fiberglass materials off and putting these lighter carbon fiber materials on, and it makes a big difference. So 430 grams, again, let's go back and compare that to the 2019 XC9, which was 425 grams. So you're 5 grams heavier than that stick at about half the cost.
That's crazy. I mean, at that price point, I'd recommend this for, maybe an entry-level competitive hockey player. But at 430 grams, it's definitely suitable for elite hockey. But seriously, at that performance, half the price. Now, for, truly that competitive player who's maybe just learned how to play hockey, they're ready for their first good stick, something that's really going to allow them to start playing, or just a more recreational player looking for value and performance at an affordable price, you're going to check out the Catalyst 3. So, again, starting with the weight here, let's talk about that, as well as the couple key specs that really make this stand out from the competition.
Yeah, Catalyst 3 at that entry-level price point, it's 450 grams at a senior length, which is, I've been in the industry for 23 years now in the hockey industry, and 450 grams used to be a top-of-the-line stick. And it wasn't that long ago where that was the case, right? So, thanks to advancements in materials and designs, we're able to achieve some of these weights now and still be able to hit those price points. But as an entry-level stick, I mean, this would be a good stick for not necessarily entry-level, but, guys with a budget, guys looking for a really good backup stick, it's going to perform at 450 grams.
Right.
When we got into, when we launched True back in 2014, our entry level price point was 580 grams. And then if we go back again and let's compare it to that XC9, right? It's 25 grams heavier at well less than half the price. You could buy almost 3 of these sticks compared to what it would cost you, you know, for an XC9. So it's a big weight story with the Catalyst line, but it's not really a durability compromise either, right? It's material innovation, laminate design innovation. Our durability standards haven't changed. These passed the same tests that our previous sticks had to pass. So we're not compromising anything here. We're just creating much lighter sticks.
Right. And then to finish us off here, for that young hockey player, you also have a full range of U-Flex options in this Catalyst 5. So walk me through the flex options that are available and, what makes this great for that, maybe recreational competitive youth player.
Yeah. I think you said Catalyst 5, but it's the Catalyst 3. We're going to offer a full U-Flex line in the Catalyst 3. It's the first time we've done that. Typically that U-Flex line is at that high-end price point. This year we decided to offer 2 U-Flex lines, both in the Catalyst 9 and the Catalyst 3. So again, the weights, I believe on the junior, I have to look it up, but it's not a lot heavier. It's heavier than the 9. But for that entry level player, it's a fantastic stick. Young player looking to start out, get that Catalyst 3 and a 20 flex, and you won't find a better stick at that price point.
Awesome, Brian. Well, this is really exciting, and looking forward to getting out and trying these myself. Speaking about the 9s, not the U-Flex, but once again, Brian, thank you again for sitting down with us today and walking us through the new Catalyst line.
No, it was great to do it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And then for you at home that want to check out the full range, make sure you head over to icewarehouse.com.